Hi again. Here we are to continue talking about building UI elements from code. In the last video, we adjusted our stroke to fill the box here, and so it should be doing pretty good now. We should be able to make it, any size, and it should just go right to the edges there, and that's looking pretty good. Let's undo that and go back to our other original size there. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to set the thickness of the stroke in storyboard, right? So I don't always have to go back and adjust the numbers here in my class file, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the circle path, and I'm going to scroll all the way to the top. And down here before, we made a variable called stroke width. So actually, maybe before I go to the top there, I'll just find this stroke width variable and cut it, right? So just cut it out of there, and we'll move it up to the top here, and we'll make it a property, okay? So I'll put it there, and then everything should work the same, right? And we'll be able to adjust that number. But what I want to do is I actually want to be able to adjust this number from storyboard, right? So from the options here. So to do that, let's make it a var first thing, right? Because it has to change. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put at IBInspectable in front of our var. So we're going to say var IBInspectable, right? Or IBInspectable var stroke width. And then the default value will be 10, okay? And I'm going to make this also a computed property, because when the value of stroke width changes, I need to redraw, my thing in storyboard, right? And actually, I just need to redraw it too when it's in the app. So if this number changed while the app was running, I would need to redraw everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the curly braces behind here to turn this into a computed property. So now it'll act like a method. If you change the value for stroke width, then the code inside in this block is going to run. And what we're going to do is we're going to run that block when you did set this. So this kind of happens after you set the value. So after setting the value, we're going to run a little bit of code. And what we're going to do is we're going to say Xcode just quit on me. I'm going to restart Xcode. Yeah, let's just, I guess I already reopened that. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to say layout. Whoa. Why did it did it again? I'm having a bad Xcode time right here. What if I put a comment in there and I say layout subviews? I'm not sure what happened there, but anyway, twice in a row. But what we're going to do is we're going to call layout subviews, right? So, if you change this, we need to redraw our view and, reconfigure it, right? So, so there we go. Let's give that a look in storyboard here. And then it'll take a moment to draw. And there we go. That's got the default stroke width of 10. And now you can see when I select the view here, there's a new property at the top that says circle path, and then it says stroke width right here. And then the value, it doesn't have a value in there, but if I typed in 10, that would be the value that we had here. And maybe 10 is too small. I actually want to make a bigger stroke, so I'll change it to 20, and then you can see that the stroke width here is now 20, right? So that's very nice, right? So I can do all of my configuration from storyboard, right? And that's kind of a big win for us, because we can save, you can't do everything here, but all the stuff that we can do here makes our workflow a lot faster, right? Because we can see visually like how thick the stroke is, and you can decide whether it's right or wrong. You don't have to always open up the simulator to test it, right? So this is a lot faster in many cases, right? So anyway, so there's IBInspectable, and you can create IBInspectable properties for just about anything. You can do it for colors. You can do it for values like CG float or floats or doubles or integers. So there's a lot of things that you can set this way. You just mark them IBInspectable, and then they show up in storyboard. And Xcode kind of looks at the name here, and it will kind of convert this name into something that you can read. So if you think of a good name for this, that even helps more, because the name that Xcode comes up with here is based on the variable name, right? So you can't really set this name directly, but if you think of a good name that you think Xcode can take apart, like you can see it took stroke with and just put a space between the words there, right? And and that works pretty good for us. So anyway, so I hope that that's interesting there. Now, you think about this and think about what other properties you can add to reconfigure this. Maybe try, as a challenge, try and configure the gradient, like the 2 colors for the gradient, right? As far as the background color goes, this is white, but that's the background color for the view. Now, it's a little inconvenient that we have most of our configuration at the top, and then this one's going to be down here. But actually, since we already have that, we can actually just make that transparent, or set the background color here in storyboard, right? So that is already a property that you can set. So anyway, give that a try and see what you can do with it, and think of any other properties that you might want to try and set. Maybe try and set the dashes here. Might be interesting, right? So anyway, thanks for watching, and then we'll continue in the next video and do a couple more things with this.